The benchmark snapped six-day winning streak, but end the week higher. Most sectoral indices close in the green, with oil and gas fueling the rally. CMD Ajay Singh says he will ensure the complete revival of SpiceJet. This is an NDTV Profit exclusive. Swiggy files an updated DRHP for 10,700 crore rupee IPO that brings valuation up to 83,000 crore rupees. But how does it fare with its peer, Zomato? We bring you special analysis. And it is an NDTV Profit impact. Ola Electric launches Hyperservice, aiming to double its service centers across the country. This is after NDTV Profit conducted an independent investigation into Ola's servicing disaster. American telecom major Cisco launches its first manufacturing facility in Chennai to help in manufacturing, routing and switching products. The facility aims to create 1,200 jobs. Samsung is facing one of the biggest labor protests in the country, with over half of its workers protesting since early September over wages, job security and overall working conditions. We get you a ground report. The big discount war by e-commerce giants Amazon and Flipkart kicks off today. We detail the journey of a package from store to customer. Former Defense Minister Shigeru Ishiba is set to become Japan's new Prime Minister. This was his fifth attempt to lead the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. The victory caused the yen to weaken, although it recovered later in the day. Good evening and welcome. You're watching Profit 360 on NDTV Profit, and I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. Now, the benchmark snapped a six-day winning streak but closed the week in the green. Nifty Metal shown as the top sectoral gainer for the week, surging about 7%. Agam Vakil joins us with a wrap of all that's happened on the Lal Street.
Well, it's been a quiet end to a great trading week for Indian equity markets, where we saw the Nifty as well as the Bank Nifty move and touch new lifetime highs. As far as Friday's trade is concerned, marginally in the red for both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. In fact, Bank Nifty took a cut of around 1%. Even in terms of the broader markets, what we in fact did see was a little bit of a step back. The mid-cap index currently marginally in the red as well, and as was the case for the small-cap index too. Let's take a look at the constituents of the Nifty, the heat map, where you will see that there were more gainers than losers. Overall, in general, well, we did have gains in BPCL and Reliance Industries, which led the oil and gas sector, and of course the pharmaceutical sector, which was also doing well in trade, largely led by names like Cipla as well as Sun Pharma. On the losing end, we had some amount of weakness in Power Grid and Bharti Airtel. Moving on and talk about the broader markets, let's take up the advanced decline ratio first. And as you will notice that while we did start the day with a lot of positivity, we eventually saw a convergence of the green and the red line, with just about one gainer for one loser ending this Friday session. As far as your top gainers and losers are concerned in the broader markets, let's pull that list up as well. Well, Lakshmi Machine Works stands out along with Sri Renuka Sugars and Kalpataru Projects among gainers. And we had weakness in Shopper Stop, Macrotech Developers and Home First along with GSW Energy, which did wilt under pressure to a certain extent. All in all, however, it was certainly a very good trading week. And the question now is, do we continue to see benchmarks make new lifetime highs as we move into next week? Or can we expect a bout of consolidation? Well, that's a wait and watch.
All right. Now, earlier today, we caught up with Edward Yardini, who explained why he prefers India to China.
China has some real serious challenges with demographics. Obviously, India doesn't have that problem. India has a much younger population, whereas China exacerbated its problems with the one-child policy. Then now they're paying the price for that. And then, of course, it's still an authoritarian government. It's not a democracy like India, and they do change the rules, and they make doing business there very very difficult. So I'm not convinced that these measures that they're taking are going to have immediate or even medium-term consequences on the positive side. I think India, to me, still looks better than China.
Well, another big voice on the channel today, NZ's chief economist Richard Yetsenga spoke about why he's bullish on the Indian economy and the factors that will drive momentum.
Emerging markets like India have been through the most difficult part of the cycle. Aggressive Fed tightening, structural China slowdown. If there was going to be an emerging market problem, the intersection of those two things should have given us one. And the reverse has happened, actually. Emerging markets have gone from strength to strength. You know, I can't recall a time in my 20 years coming here that the external perception of India has been so strong. So if you think about why that is, financial sector resilience means when the Fed tightened, it didn't have all those uncomfortable financial fragility flow-ons into the Indian economy. Let's all remember 10 years ago, India was one of the fragile five. Now it's one of the fantastic five. I'm not sure what the other four are, but we can work that out.
Well, and on to an NDTV Profit impact story. Ola Electric has launched Hyperservice. Bhavish Agarwal on social media platform X said that the firm aims to double its service centers across the country. Now, this is after NDTV Profit conducted an independent investigation into Ola's servicing disaster. Tushar is joining in with more. Tushar, give us more details about how Ola plans to now change its servicing.
Yeah, hi Nupur. So Bhavish Agarwal, the chairman and promoter of Ola Electric, has actually put down a 4-point plan as of now on X to fix the service-related issues that the customers are facing. He also made a mention of the number of stores the company has, about 800 in the country, but the service stations are actually about 500. The aim is to double that to about 1,000 by December 2025. So the 4-point agenda to fix the after-sales issues are everywhere, anytime service network, essentially doubling the service network to about 1,000 from 500 at this point of time. Deeper penetration of EV across India. The company plans to train about 1 lakh mechanics in handling and servicing an electric scooter. This will be achieved by December 2025. A quick service guarantee. The company is also assuring a one-day service for its customers. If there is a delay, then they'll actually provide an alternate vehicle for the customer to use till the time that issue is not rectified. Agarwal has also mentioned about an ownership experience that will be powered by AI for proactive maintenance as well as remote diagnostics. Remember, the software glitches that have happened in the Ola scooters the scooters had to be taken to a service center to fix them, as the updates were not over the air or OTM. Nupur.
All right. Thank you very much, Tushar, for joining us with those details. Now, moving on, SpiceJet has been in the news for a while now as it battles to pay dues. In an exclusive conversation with NDTV Profit, the CMD Ajay Singh spoke about the low-cost carriers' revival plans. The airline service plans to expand its fleet from 25 to 100 by the end of 2026. Now, only last week, the carrier had raised 3,000 crore rupees via a QIP to tackle its ongoing financial challenges. Here's what Singh had to say to criticism faced by the company on its revival plans.
We have proven you guys wrong. We've proven your channel wrong repeatedly, because you guys have said so many times that SpiceJet will not survive. And we've shown you every time that you are wrong. This is an airline that refuses to die. It will not, and it will be a vibrant player in the Indian aviation space again. There is absolutely no doubt in that. Well, the primary use of the raise is to increase capacity, go from the current 25 aircraft that SpiceJet is flying back to a 100 aircraft airline in the next 2 years. That's the primary objective of the raise. We were already close to 100 aircraft airline in 2019, and it is our intention to get back to being a 100 aircraft airline over the next 2 years. That's the primary objective. Of course, another objective of the raise is to clean up the balance sheet, clear up whatever is due and payable, settle with all our partners who are owed money primarily for the period when aircraft are not flying during COVID and during the grounding of the MAX aircraft in 2019. and for 3 years thereupon. So the idea is that we clean up our balance sheet, restructure all existing liabilities, and have the space and the strength to quickly grow back into being a 100 aircraft airline in a market which is absolutely booming.
Now, Swiggy filed an updated DRHP for its 10,700 crore IPO. But how does Swiggy stack up against its listed peer Zomato? Agam brings us a detailed report.
IPO that a lot of investors are waiting for. Now, in terms of the latest deals that have happened, and this is, of course, the pre-IPO deals that we're talking about, that's happened somewhere in the range of around 330 to 375 rupees per share. What does that peg Swiggy at in terms of its valuations? Well, a little less than $10 billion, or for that matter, a little less than 84,000 crores, or 83,000 crores to be precise, at 375 rupees per share. But moving in, as far as your IPO is concerned, they're expected to raise about 10,700 crores, and this will be split between a fresh issue, which will be worth around 3,750 crores, and a little less than 7,000 crores will be an OFS. This is as far as its own valuations are concerned, but how does that compare to Zomato, which is in the listed space? So firstly, we must realize that Zomato will have a listing premium and Swiggy will have an unlisted discount. Still, if you consider 85,000 crores as the valuation for Swiggy, and if you consider the sales for the year gone by, that comes in at around 11,000 odd crores for Swiggy. Well, the price to sales ratio stands at around 7.6 times. In comparison, Zomato's market capitalization is well over 2.5 lakh crores, and it's in terms of its annual sales, it's not too far away from Swiggy. It's about a little over 12,000 crores. Which actually pegs its price to sales at 20.6 times. So as you can see, in terms of price to sales, the ratios, in this case, there is a very wide gulf between that and Swiggy and Zomato. And as I continue to mention, besides the fact that we are looking at that listed premium for Zomato, we must remember that Swiggy is looking at a deep discount also because of the fact that it still needs to be profitable. It is on the path to profitability. On the other hand, Zomato has starting to turn profits on a little bit more consistent basis. And well, we must remember, of course, that Zomato is also listed, which is why you get that listing premium. But what does the management have to say when it comes to Swiggy in terms of its outlook going forward? So when it comes to the food delivery business, well, on a year-on-year basis, going in, Swiggy is expecting about 18 to 20% growth, and this growth will largely be driven essentially by addition in new users. And as far as this grocery delivery business is concerned, that's where we are looking at a staggering growth of around 60%. But of course, this is where they're also working on a relatively lower base, which is why this number will look a lot higher. The question then is, in terms of a pre-IPO allotment, and if you're one of those investors who have in fact managed to get their hands on the Swiggy shares before its IPO, what are the risks that you are keeping an eye on? A listing delay. Because so far we only know that the DRHP has been filed, but as is the case for many IPOs out there, you never know, this could be a possibility, which means that you may have to wait for a little longer than what you may have anticipated. A downturn in listed market valuations. Now just let's say suppose tomorrow, if you do in fact see a sharp correction in Indian markets, in Indian equity markets as a whole, you may in fact see a correction in the valuations at which the Swiggy IPO may come. And of course, let's not forget, if you are an investor in Swiggy pre-IPO, there will be a lock-in of around 6 months. That means you will not be able to sell shares when Swiggy in fact lists, but 6 months post that. So those are just some of the factors that you need to keep in mind when it comes to Swiggy and its upcoming IPO that stands to hit the exchanges over the course of the next few months.
Well, the label dispute at Samsung's electronics manufacturing facility in Sri Perumbudur, Chennai shows no signs of resolution. The company has reportedly warned striking workers, implementing a no work, no pay policy and suggesting potential layoffs if the strikes continue. NDTV Profit's Haripriya is on the site to provide an in-depth report from the protest site.
We are here in Sri Perumbudur, a town near Chennai in Tamil Nadu. This is a special economic zone where factories of multiple international companies are housed. One among them is Samsung, who is currently facing a rebellion from its workers. About 100 to 200 meters away from here, hundreds of workers of Samsung have put up a tent and are protesting. This protest has been going on from September 9th. Today marks the 18th day of their protest and they continue to do so. Now what they demand is they get better wages, they get better working conditions, and their union gets recognized. So far, they have not reached any resolution with the company, and what we hear from the company as of now is that they are willing to talk to workers individually, but they do not want to engage with a union. But we spoke to the union leader here and multiple workers. So far, what they complain is that they have not heard anything from the company material in terms of getting to a resolution and solving their problems. And they also complain that the government has not made any efforts or paying enough attention for this. Samsung's capacity production was actually reduced the day the protest started. But now since the protest has been continuing, they've hired some temporary workers to keep the place running. And they have even sent actually the show cause notices to these workers to ask them to come back. If they do not come back, then they will face wage cuts. However, the protesters have not budged because of this. They continue to protest, and they say that until a proper resolution is reached and they get what they want, they won't be moving back from this.
Well, the American telecom major Cisco has started its first manufacturing facility in India. The company's production site is based in Perumbudur in Chennai and is expecting to drive $1.3 billion in revenue with this investment. NDTV's Haripriya caught up with Cisco's executive vice president and a chief product officer to know more about the plant's prospects.
This has been in the works for a while. Chuck Robbins, our CEO, had met with Prime Minister Modi in several months ago and made sure that we had made the commitment that we're committed to the growth of India. And what we've done over here is not just made sure that the facility can manufacture for the local market of India, but we're actually taking our first product line and manufacturing so that we can make sure that we can also have export. And we're waiting for the export control licenses, but that's something that we'll be looking forward to. And this is the first product that we're bringing to the market over here with local manufacturing. But our goal is, depending on the success of this, that we're going to have many product lines that we can bring over here. So our goal is over the course of the next next couple of years, we would have about $1.3 billion of revenue that can be generated from the facility. It's also over the next year, I think we want to make sure that we get to about 1,200 or so employees with our partner Flex.
Now, Festive cheer has arrived early with the big discount deals on Amazon and Flipkart. Consumers have begun to rush to snag deals on everything from electronics to fashion. The upcoming October-December period is critical for retailers as festivals from Diwali to Durga Puja drive up sales, now contributing to a significant portion of annual revenue. Consumers are embracing the festive spirit with their proactive shopping behavior, signaling an even stronger performance ahead. Now, leading smartphone brands like Xiaomi and Samsung are capitalizing on the moment, slashing prices and pushing hard to clear stocks while encouraging retailers to meet bold targets. E-commerce heavyweights Amazon, Flipkart and Myntra, along with rapid delivery services like Blinkit and Zepto, are leading the charge, rolling out discounts as high as 80% with ultra-fast delivery options. And Rishabh Bhatnagar now joins in to provide a detailed overview of how the Amazon Bengaluru Fulfillment Center functions.
Joined by Abhinav Singh, Vice President of Operations at Amazon India. Thanks so much, Abhinav, for taking the time out. Firstly, for our viewers, just lay the context a bit. explain to us where an FC or a fulfillment center stands in the entire processing of orders?
So we are at the inbound dock. This is where we bring in the inventory. So these are sellers from across the country who are sending the inventory to our fulfillment centers so that it can be stored in our fulfillment center, ready for customers to order. Yeah, so you saw us inbound where we got the inventory from our sellers. This is where we keep it ready to ship for our customers when they order. If you see what we call bins, but basically these are independent locations, all are marked with a barcode. So when a customer presses buy on the website, like when you press buy, there's a real-time computation that happens to determine which is the closest fulfillment center from where we can send the item to the customer. The associate comes to the right location, scans the location, takes the product, checks all 6 sides to make sure that everything is proper, it's not damaged, it's in good condition, and then takes it and sends it to where it is packed, where we'll go next. Akshata's handheld device has just gotten the orders which are being dropped by customers, placing them from across the country. She's got the location on her handheld scanner as to where to go and find the product. She looks at the product, she scans it, she looks at all 6 sides of it to make sure that it is in the right condition, and then she puts it in her tote to be able to transfer it to the pack station. So you saw those picking, Akshata over there, she put the package in the yellow tote. Those yellow totes are carried by the conveyance system, which you see in the background, and brought to the pack station. At the pack station, when they scan the item, the computer screen in front of them tells them the right box to select. This is based on a machine learning algorithm. Once the order is packed, we decide to label the package. At the time of labeling, there's a real-time decision which is made that we gave a promise to the customer. In order to keep that promise, what is the best mode of transportation? And basis that, the label is generated and put on the package. From there, it comes over here and gets packaged in these tertiary containers that you see over here. Based on the customer, where they are with respect to the product, what is the fastest mode of transportation to get it there, that's how the decision happens, and that's how the journey goes from here on.
Well, after a tightly contested leadership race, Japan's former defense minister Shigeru Ishiba is poised to become the country's next prime minister. Now, this marks the 5th and what Ishiba has declared as his final attempt to lead the party. The 67-year-old political veteran edged out hardline nationalist Sanei Takaichi in a dramatic runoff, capping one of the most unpredictable leadership races in decades with a record 9 candidates. In response to the news, the yen dropped, although it did bounce back later on Friday. Well, that's all we have time for right now on this edition of Profit 360. Thank you very much for joining in. And as we sign off, enjoy this charming moment of Union Telecom Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia greeting a robot during his trip to Chennai. He says namaste, and the robot reciprocates with a respectful gesture.
Hi, Radha. How are you, Radha? You ready? Why are you looking so loud?